London, Tokyo, we're flying all over the world, surveying the globe. We got worldwide status wherever we go. Hot crew 57, man, you already know.
You can be sure that the price of Stellar will begin to skyrocket, because as we have said before, lumens is a sort of fuel like Ether for Ethereum. Without Ether, you can do nothing inside the Ethereum blockchain. And for XLM or lumens is the same.
Going to the reason, why Stellar is so much better than Ethereum. Ethereum's not set up for this. Ethereum gas fees are very high right now. Now, they're working on some other improvements, but understand
moreover, Ethereum is enough slow. Also
it's much slower, and it's a lot more expensive. And it's not really set up for the same sort of framework. And Stellar is very agile. It's very simple code base. It's very versatile. So lumens, they first of all, there's very small transaction fee. It's very small transaction fee that's designed to be cheap, but that's to create like a little bit of friction for spam, right? So also every single account that's created, I'm getting a little feedback. So every account has, let's say it needs a couple lumens when you set that up. So that's another thing. To me though, I think that, where we'll see the lumens have a lot more desire and use is when we start to see a lot of assets come onto the network. So for those that are listening, let's say when the first exchanges were created, right? One of the first exchanges were created. What did everybody have to buy in order to trade to different assets? Everybody bought Bitcoin. Why? Because Bitcoin was the most liquid asset to trade.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
The first time that my first buying of Bitcoin was never really to hodl Bitcoin. It was to get into Ethereum or get into Litecoin or whatever the asset was at the time. Okay. So now going back to what you were saying, imagine now we have a system where you have real estate, gold, you have other cryptocurrencies, you have a Forex market that's going on at the same exact time. Okay. Now you can trade with different pairs, USDC, we're going to talk about later on, or another currency, but you also have the option to go in between of different assets through XLM. It's going to be the most fluid asset on the network. And so in many ways, Stellar could be like the Bitcoin, so to speak, of XLM could be the Bitcoin of the Stellar network is what I'm saying. These folks that I got to talk to have been building on Stellar since the beginning. And the one thing that I hear from all of them is that Jed's main concern is to make sure that he creates something that works. Okay. That was his main concern, not hyping a token, not hyping the newest thing. It's like, listen, can we really change the world? Yes, not hyping. Okay. There was no XLM army. Okay. It was simply, it was, let's build it. So in 2019, when I met a lot of the people at SDF, he had just started to bring on a team. And it was, I think, maybe like 12 people. That's 2019. Now they started in 2015. Okay. He started to bring on a team around 2019. Okay. That year he brought on Danielle Dixon. Okay. That was like May of that year. So this is not that long ago. Okay. Danielle Dixon was brought in 2019. Now let me share a little bit about Danielle and who she is. She worked at Mozilla. Okay. And she started there at 2012. When she worked at Mozilla, she was a general counsel before moving into their chief business and legal officer and then COO. Okay. When she was there, and I did my research, I checked checked her credentials. And she was responsible for assembling a fantastic team of legal and business and policy experts. So understand this. He brought in somebody who has a legal background. Prior to that, I want to say she did legal counsel for Yahoo. Okay, at Yahoo, she worked in legal and I think the Supreme Court. I want to say out in Hawaii. Okay, so sharp person. Okay,
if you have a look to explaining the thing to the Italian community, if you have a look to the professional background of Danielle Dixon, is amazing, astonishing,
amazing. And listen, and so who did she hire next? Right, this is 2019 towards the end of 2019. Right, she then hired Candace Kelly. Who is Candace Kelly? Candace Kelly is Stellar's general counsel. Okay, I wrote some notes. She was a consultant for the government investigation for Uber. Okay, she worked there. Prior to that, she was the chief special prosecution and national security unit. Prior to that, she was the special counsel for the director of the FBI. Okay, she was brought in and worked directly. Remember the Boston Marathon attack? She was brought in to work that. Okay. You can go further. You have Jordan, who Edelstein, who he used to work. He's a CMO, chief marketing officer. I'm talking to him later this month. He used to work for EA Sports, worked behind a project called Madden. We talked about gaming. Okay. You have Jason. He worked for Palantir. You have Karen Chang. Karen Chang she just got hired in the beginning of this year. She's the VP of engineering for Stellar. Okay. She used to work for a company called Anaplan. Okay. She was the software engineering of North America. She was the director of engineering at Salesforce. And prior to that, she was the engineering manager for Netflix. Oh, and by the way, listen, 10 years with Goldman Sachs. So
Sam, to summarize this, your exposition, we for all the Italian supporters, we can have an idea of the talents that are inside the Stellar Development Foundation. This
correct.
is fundamental in order to evaluate a crypto project. It's more or less something like a football team. Who are
correct.
the players?
Who are the players?
Go to have a look to their professional or sports background, and you can imagine the potentiality of this development team. Moreover,
right. And to summarize, so to summarize even further, right, is that so you had from 2015 till about 2019, Stellar was mainly coders. Okay, then in 2019 to 2021 was really building the foundation of the Stellar Foundation. Okay. So what else happened in 2020? The pandemic. Okay. Right. So you got to think about that for, also, and we'll talk about, it didn't stop the momentum. So, exactly. So even though, I think that to kind of summarize, I think that, the fact is that Stellar has performed well. Okay. Over 150% since the SEC filing against Ripple. So it didn't stop there. I get it that it hasn't performed as well as maybe some of these others, but to say that it hasn't performed is hyperbole. I think that if you look at it from the perspective of a lot of people are now starting to understand what Stellar is, right? We're now starting to get a foundation of what's going on, what the potential is. And when that happens, it's not going to be a hype coin. It's not going to be like Doge, where you see hype. Listen, I love everybody with Doge, right? But when you look at Doge, right, what are you reading about? Okay, so you turn the TV on, you hear about the hype, you go and you do your research, and you find out it was a joke, right? When Stellar starts to have that mainstream attention, and people do their research and they say, well, who's the team? What have they done? What are their partnerships? I mean, like I said, everybody make their own decision, but I'm just saying that's my answer to that question. The largest mobile payment service in the States was a company called Zelle. Okay, Zelle worked directly with banks in the United States. It was created and founded by a gentleman by the name of Mike Kennedy. Mike Kennedy was a advisor for Stellar for several years before becoming CEO of a for-profit company called Interstellar. Okay, now Interstellar quickly went into the Southeast Asian market. The Southeast Asian market, he connected with a company backed by the CP Group. Now, we don't have enough time to go through the CP Group, guys, but CP Group is head by a billionaire founder family, and they own, we're talking about almost all the Starbucks, all the 7-Elevens. We're talking about in Taiwan.
Investment holding company.
Correct. Taiwan. You're talking about Japan. You're talking about Seven Bank, which is a very popular bank there. You're talking about, I can go on and on. Well, they just recently announced a merger of Interstellar and Velo. Mike Kennedy is now going to be the CEO of Velo Labs. And so that's going to be huge. Another important, I think, announcement is the coming soon. I just tweeted about it earlier. Is the Coinbase? Coinbase is going public. Everyone should know who Coinbase is. They are coming out with a crypto card. A Visa card. Okay, with this Visa card, because they're a crypto company, a digital asset company, they're giving cash back rewards for people that spend. Their cash back rewards is going to be 1% in BTC, 4% in XLM. Okay. So you got to ask yourself, a company that's going public that is going to be saying that they're coming out with a debit card backed by Visa, and they are putting XLM at the forefront of their campaign to attract people. That's going to really help with just educating more and more people about who Stellar is, what they're building. And I think that it's a great story. And I think what I like about Stellar, unlike a lot of other projects out there, is a lot of projects are simply there for trading. That's it. It just serves a trading purpose. If you're looking to make money, it's there. What Stellar is here to do is provide opportunities in developing countries, provide businesses the opportunity to grow and expand, bring investing. We're talking about the tokenization of real estate, to tokenization of stocks. We didn't talk about D-Stock, where you can buy fractions of a share on chain of publicly traded companies.
In other words, make money borderless. Make money borderless.
Well, thank you so much.
New York, London, Tokyo, we flying all over the world, surveying the globe. We got worldwide status wherever we go. Hot crew 57, man, you